Well, hello, Denton. This is Jake Laughlin bringing you another episode of Discover Denton, a show brought to you by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, highlighting events around Denton. This week we have Kim Phillips of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as representatives from Spoon Productions and We Denton Do It, talking about the upcoming Can Fest happening on October 5th, which is this Friday. So make sure you stick around and hear about a very cool festival we are bringing to town for the very first time. Here is Discover Denton.
Good afternoon, Denton, and thanks for joining us on Discover Denton. I'm Kim Phillips coming to you from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we're on dentonradio.com. Thanks for being here. Today, we are going to focus our show on an upcoming brand new event for Denton called Can Fest. You've probably heard about it if you're at all in touch, especially in the world of social media here in Denton. But I have two guests here today. One, Glenn Ferris.
How you doing?
Great, and I'm glad you're here, Glenn.
Thanks for having us.
Glenn is the owner, CEO of Spoon, correct?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about Spoon.
Spoon Productions, it's been around about 15 years, but it's been really active in the past, probably 5 or 6 years, and we do events all over DFW. We book shows in venues like Dan Silverleaf, Trees down in Dallas, the Live Oak down in Fort Worth, and we just kind of do a lot of touring bands in those venues, and then we have a couple of events that play off during the year, like Index Fest. We've done Untapped in Dallas and Fort Worth, and now we have Canned in Denton.
So are all your events music events, more like concerts?
Yeah, everything's music based.
Okay.
So it's kind of the indie rock world, the mid-level indie rock world that we operate in. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here, Glenn.
thank you very much.
And with Glenn, we also have Alyssa Stevenson. And
Yay.
Alyssa is with We Didn't Do It. And I know you've got a lot of your blog followers that are our listeners. So I know they'll be excited to have both of you here today.
All those fans out
Hey.
there.
All those fans, I'm telling you.
Hashtag WDDI, y'all.
Hey, we share lots of stuff that we find on y'all's blog. So it's
Yeah.
kind of the go-to, becoming one of the go-to places for Denton.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about how We Didn't Do It is involved.
Sure. We Didn't Do It is the official media sponsor for the Canned Festival. Because we are a big media outlet for Denton, as far as arts, culture, and life goes, we really wanted to make sure that as we partnered with Spoon, we really made sure that their festival was reaching our audience, because we think it's perfect for our audience and for the people that we write for in Denton. Spoon is bringing in Can Fest, which is an amazing festival and is right up our alley. We've been to Untapped and we've been to Index. Untapped is my favorite of the two if I was to choose. So I was pretty pumped whenever Spoon chose to bring Can Fest to Denton, and we wanted to make sure that we could show it off as much as possible. So we were pretty pumped whenever we got to be the media sponsor for them.
Well, so you've kind of segued right into where I want to go with this. We're talking about Can Fest today, which is a brand new event. Tell us first of all, what is Can Fest? I mean, where did the idea come from? What does it look like?
Well, we had done Untapped Fest very successfully in Dallas, and then we did it again in Fort Worth. And being from Denton, I really wanted Untapped to be in Denton. But we brought on Pace Magazine to be a major sponsor of it. And part of that deal was that it was going to go national into larger markets. So Denton was kind of never going to happen. So because of that, we actually came up with the idea to basically make a boutique festival that fit Denton, was Denton centric, and would work here. And the idea that I came up with was the idea of the beer being based on beer brewed in cans. Like, that was the twist on it. So we, just kind of developed the idea, and basically it's a spin-off of Untapped, which is just, half beer, half music. It's the same thing, but it's like half beer out of cans. So when we were brainstorming even more about it, what would this look like? We realized that there's a recycling element that comes along with like using cans. Mm-hmm. So that kind of became a road that we went down quite a bit, the sustainability aspect of the festivals that we do. And so we started thinking about top to bottom, well, what can we do to make this a sustainable festival? Since we're using cans now, what else can we do? So we actually got in contact with Denton Municipal, and they've agreed to come on as a sponsor to provide us with wind energy. So it'll be 100% sustainable. We're not going to be burning diesel fuel to power anything. So yeah, that's the basic idea of it and where it came from. Just finding a version of Untapped that fit Denton very well.
So Untapped is like kegs versus this is going to be cans.
More like bottle brewed beer. So like your beer comes in bottles or cans. And the new boutique thing for a lot of these craft beers is to brew in cans versus bottles. It's a lot more sustainable. It's a smaller amount. It's a lot cheaper. It keeps beer fresher for longer. It gets colder. So there's all of these great things that happen for the beer when it's canned versus bottled. And
I never even knew that.
So it's kind of become, it's like there's like a resurgence in beer canning now, right? For these like craft and microbreweries. And so it's pretty cool that when Glenn really thought of this idea, he kind of went for this like newer, more innovative, new boutique thing for Baby Untapped. So,
Do we have some craft breweries in Denton?
not at the time. We have some that were started and inspired by Denton.
Like the Armadillo
Ales is originally from here. They actually brew down in Dallas. The laws need to change in Denton in order for brewing to happen here.
I see.
But
And that's the other thing that we're, kind of thinking is like if we can raise awareness for the need for a brewery here in Denton, to do cans, that's kind of part of it also, I think.
absolutely.
So, okay, you mentioned Untapped, and you mentioned another event, Index. They're beer/music festivals also?
No, Index is just music. Index is a 2-day festival that kind of takes over Deep Ellum.
Okay.
This year we have Devotchka and Andrew Bird, Girl Talk.
So what is your, and this question is for both of you, what is your motivation for doing these events? Does every event have a like creating awareness or promoting sustainability or, green environmentalism? Does everything have a purpose, or is it just your business?
It's just the business, but we've been fortunate enough to be able to work with bands that we really love and to do events that we really love and believe in. So it's twofold. I mean, we do have to put food on our plate like anybody else, but we've been selective enough in what we do that we get to really do what we love and enjoy. So because of that, we're always kind of trying to find a cool angle. Like the name for Index actually came from like, well, what are our favorite bands? What's our index of favorite bands? Let's put them all on a festival. So we really believe in everything that we do, every product that we put out there. Every time we ask someone for money for a ticket, we want to get behind that. So
Deliver on your brand, so to speak.
Yep.
Well, speaking of brand, I know you're aware of our Denton Original Independent brand
Yes.
that we've just really taken across the board to make statements about Denton in all different arenas of Denton's life. But it applies very especially to the downtown area, to the creative movement in all kinds of art, music included, of course. And dentonradio.com is a big part of that, just kind of embracing everything local, unique to our city, and using that as, hey, this is something nobody else has got. You should come experience it. And I really, at first awareness of CanFest began to see it kind of fitting into that in a real special way.
Right.
Absolutely.
And this whole thing about the wind energy, that alone probably sets it apart, doesn't it?
I think it may be the first wind-powered festival in the county.
I've never even heard of it. It may be, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, could be. It is an original idea that was specifically catered for Denton. I mean, it is a unique to Denton, maybe, only going to ever happen in Denton festival. So
I'm imagining how in the world do they determine your energy is coming from wind? I mean, are they going to set up a windmill there or just change the wires a little bit?
It's actually interesting. They purchase wind power from around, basically. So they have like an allotment of wind power that they have. So when they bring out the transformer, they meter it and they use allotment of wind power that they have for that meter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I know they buy a lot of theirs off the Munster wind farm.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, exactly.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that's how it's like, how it works out.
I love that. I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah.
So, for our listeners, give us a verbal visual, if you will, of what's going to happen at CanFest. And this is downtown Williams Square,
Williams
right?
Square. Yeah, the
Okay.
Wells Fargo
Yeah.
parking lot right next to Rusty Taco.
Okay, tell us what it's going to look like.
Well, there's going to be a big stage. There's going to be a bunch of tents with a bunch of beer, a lot of different types of beer. And
So
you
much
will-
beer.
You will want to try pretty much all of them, but that, might be impossible. The tasting glass that we give away, it's like a shot glass, and that'll catch up with you quicker than you think. It really will.
I can imagine.
Especially because so many of these beers have a really high alcohol content, more than your average Bud Light. We're looking at some of these most will be around 5 or 6%. Some of them as high as 10 or 11, probably.
Right. So, people really enjoy the libations at these
I can imagine.
at these festivals.
And it's like a chili cook-off or something where you're literally going booth to booth to just taste these different craft, and everything's a craft beer?
That's it.
Everything's a craft beer.
Okay. So, like, realistically, are we talking 100 beers or 50 beers or 20 beers? Or
I think we've got like 35 breweries represented, and each one may have 1 or 2 beers there. So
that is fantastic.
and it's all stuff coming out of cans. So you may not have heard of quite a few of them. There's going to be some like new ones that you're going to want to try. There's going to be some that, you may not be able to even buy here. So for kind of the beer aficionado, it's going to be a really cool opportunity to be out there.
Oh, yeah.
Just
And
to
we
mess
have 1 or
around.
2 of those people in Denton. So.
Yeah, there are a few of those
Yeah.
actually.
I'm sure there will be plenty of beer requests at Midway Mart coming up. Please get me this. I tried it at Canned.
And the other cool part is the breweries are represented there, so they'll talk about it with you. I mean, people can get really nerdy about the beer, and this is a great opportunity for that.
It's like going to Beaujolais, I guess, for wine drinkers.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Same type thing.
Same
So, is there food there?
We'll have some food trucks, but we're also, because it's in a densely populated with restaurant area, we're going to do in and out so people can, get some pizza from Mellow Mushroom.
Good.
Go get burgers at
I love
Roosters
that.
or whatever. We're going to be very liberal about that, but there will be some food trucks on site, and we're going to try to have some, little tasty things out there also.
Great.
To try in between your shots of beer.
In that, like you said, densely populated entertainment district.
Yeah.
It's really great that you're helping to support those businesses. A lot of times they kind of get left out of the mix when
Sure they
all
do.
the streets close and this kind of thing. And I
Right.
know they try to be so supportive, but I know they're thrilled to see an event coming that's actually going
Right.
to drive people into their places.
Sure, and we're using their parking lot, so we might as well do what we can to help them out that day. And I had several meetings with the Industrial Street Guild, and they've been like super supportive. They're really excited about it and just happy to be kind of included in
Oh,
what
yeah,
we're doing.
I'm sure.
So.
Can you talk about any of the talent?
Oh,
Sure.
man. They've got some great talent lined up. Menomina out of Seattle. Helio
Yeah,
Sequence.
They live somewhere. they're from somewhere.
And Joe Pug. And then more locally, you've got Chambers, Pageantry, Hairs on the Mountain, and the AM Ramblers.
Good.
Yeah.
So a nice, good mix.
Great mix.
Yeah, it's kind of something for everyone. I think, the indie rock lover would really be into Helio Sequence. That's the
Oh,
drummer
man.
from Modest Mouse, actually. Menomina's been around for a while and put out some like incredible records. But then like
yeah.
you've got Joe Pug, who's like kind of an Austin, Chicago just songwriter with a great band. So there's kind of something for everyone out there. And then like we kind of start off the day with AM Ramblers, which is just like really good, roots, bluegrassy sounding stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I like them.
and that's the cool thing is like as you're enjoying some of the best beers you'll ever have, like you turn around and there's probably some of the best music, in town that night. So that's the whole idea of the fest right there.
Yeah.
Very good. So it's Williams Square, which
Right.
is the big parking lot behind Wells Fargo,
Yeah,
right there
that
on Hickory.
Giant free parking lot that everybody parks in because there's no parking anywhere else.
Yeah. So it takes up the whole area between Rusty Taco and Wells Fargo, right there on Hickory Street.
No, actually, half of that.
Okay.
William Square technically is where that boulevard down the middle of the parking lot is.
At Austin Street.
No, like if you're looking at the lot overhead, there's a dividing meridian.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So everything
Part of
that-
it really is the bank parking.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
there's Williams Square, where the buses used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Everything to the west of that dividing line is William Square. And
Okay.
there's actually a mix of city, county, and Wells Fargo parking spaces there. It's very complicated.
So closer to the Rusty Taco side.
yes.
Okay, gotcha. For people that have been to 35 Denton, where the big outdoor stage was,
Right, exactly.
in Williams
Right.
Square there.
Exactly.
So, okay, and so does it cost to get in?
Yes.
It's $17 in advance, $20 at the door.
Okay.
And for the beer package, which gives you like the sampling cup and the card, that'll be $25, and then the VIP was $40, but that's all sold out. So
Okay. So 17 to $20 gets you in the gate.
yep.
And is it an all-day deal?
It starts at 3 and goes till 10. It'll be wrapped up at
perfect.
10. So
Perfect. Well, it sounds like a very good deal for what you're going to get being there.
Exactly.
So we know the cost. We know where we're going to be. We know the times. Is there anything else our listeners need to know about CanFest?
I don't know. You got anything?
I mean, I think it's important to mention that kind of some other sponsors are Eastside Social Club and Oak Street Draft House,
Yeah.
which are great because since the concert's over by 10 and I've yet to be at a Spoon event where it really wasn't over when it was supposed to be over pretty much.
That's a
They're
good
very
thing.
good at timing things well. It's perfect because you can still stumble over and continue drinking beer.
At Oak Street.
great
And they've got, what, like
bars.
100 different Texas beers on tap?
I think Oak Street has like 65, and then if I'm not mistaken, in that range. And then Eastside Social Club, their partner bar, is they have 89 beers on tap.
Wow, so
90
between
beers
the
on
two, we're
tap.
talking closer to 150.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And I mean, it might also be a great time to switch to whiskey at that point. So Eastside Social Club's not a bad place.
I think
to
Alyssa
head
has
over
been
to.
there, done that, and she's got
Wow.
a plan. She's got a game plan.
Party animal.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if you're going to do it for a day, you may as well take it into the night, right?
Well, I see this being a big draw for Dentonites out there, and I want to thank both of you, Glenn and Alyssa, for being with us today,
Thanks a lot, Kim.
telling everybody about the event, and it's coming up Saturday, October 5th.
Yes.
So mark your calendars. This is going to be Beer Day in Denton, CanFest.
Yes.
Thanks both of you for being here. Thanks, Denton, for listening in, and we'll see you at CanFest and talk to you next week. Thanks.
There you have it. That was this week's episode of Discover Denton, a show brought to you by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. A big thanks to Kim Phillips of the CVB. Another big thanks to Spoon Productions and We Denton Do It for being our wonderful guests today. Another huge thanks to Gravity Feed for providing the intro and outro music. I'm Jake Laughlin, your host. Join us next week where we will be bringing you more highlights of our original and independent city. And in the meantime, go enjoy Denton.